over the course of my 25 years and very long before, I've noticed, and there has just been a very strong decline in people lacking their authentic self. From lying about, how they feel to denying what's in front of them, people have developed a mind that it not only convinces its observer, your ego, literally you, to disregard its heart, with the 12-point essay on why you should, ignore that aspect of self. And at the end of the day, as I've always said, this plane is a mental plane. Everything we do on this plane happens because our mind creates it. It develops it in that sense. All we do is mental. We are mankind, and man is mind, and mind is all. So, so far as the two eyes can see, at least, and the third can feel in that sense. But in this video, we're going to talk about that rising issue, the roots that it could come from, overcoming these hurdles, and just, not being as toxic to yourself. But the lack of authenticity in people has caused this trend of fake optimism, which you see in a lot of people, even people who are like not spiritual or not enlightened, or just your average Joes. It's like everyone has this weird like mask, and every time I think of it or see it or I bump into someone, it's like they're being surveillanced by some form of fucking like boss or like mob boss or something, and it's like, oh, I have to act happy, smile. It's that weird shit. It's like, we don't have to. And if you're uncomfortable by someone not doing that, you need to worry about like control issues. You need to worry about why you yourself don't smile enough and need to see it in other people. You need to figure that out, because that's what's going on in that realm. But I'll say it again, it's fake optimism. The word fake comes before optimism, which is telling you exactly how it's operating. It's operating in false light. It's not true. It's not real. It is a figment at that point. It's just a piece. It's a part of optimism, but it's not what it truly is. It's a false viewing point. You can't fake it till you make it. And people who say that, they're lying. Because they're actually being their true self. What goes on with the people who use the term fake it till you make it, and then they end up making it, or however, making it to whatever degree they want to make it to, the reason why they have to fake it till they make it is because they aren't really aware how their mind works. The rational mind couldn't be convinced that they could live that life unless they lied to themselves about it. Being mentally unable to handle things creates that tension between living what they don't enjoy and living what they do enjoy under a double identity or a false self, quote unquote, right? Which leaves good time to say that the majority of people that you will meet in life have an identity crisis of some kind. People don't really listen to who they are, rather than how people would feel about them. And this also ties into the fake optimism, like, oh, maybe if I act like this, it'll be better. Well, that's not true, because you don't like acting that way. You have to bring it up to yourself in an idea to convince yourself. The fact that it was brought up in that sort of way as like an idea being chucked at you from an observation of, how people act around you, shows you that you're tending towards other people's gardens than yourself. And a few things that you can kind of like gauge yourself on is if you ever said or heard the phrase, if I tell people how I feel, they'll hate me, or like I just don't want to bother anyone, or I feel so deeply and that's why I don't talk much. These are like excuses that the rational mind keeps you from fully seeing. And this also ties with the fake optimism. It's like you need to really be able to be honest with yourself. If you don't feel good, you don't feel good. Stop using energy that you have to feel better to act and to fake that you feel better or to fight that feeling and push it down. That's why you end up being so drained. That's why you can't sleep. That's why you're having all these issues. That's why you're breaking out. Your digestive system's all fucked up because you yourself aren't allowing yourself to feel. Really work with this. Feeling is not a difficult thing. It's thinking that makes it difficult. Sometimes you get a feeling and you're like, oh, why do I feel this way? And you go down that rabbit hole and you're sometimes not ready for it. That's not a feeling. That's a thought. That feeling is the root. That feeling of blank. What's that feeling? Is it a feeling that brings you in a lighter space, or is it a feeling that sinks you in a little bit? Don't define it as good or bad. I mean, if you do what you need to do, obviously, but try to get to the point to where you refrain from rationality and you see things as, I feel lighter or I feel heavier. Why does this feel heavier? Because there's something in it that I need to remove. Not to remove and throw away. Maybe I need to clean it. Maybe I need to dust it off. Maybe I just need to pick it up and move it somewhere else. Maybe it doesn't need to be in that space anymore. When it makes you lighter, it frees you up. How much are you able to now draw in from that freeing space? All these things, it's not gauging in a good or bad sense. That's, again, what the rational mind does heavily. But anyway, those were excuses that the rational mind makes that to keep you from knowing this seed. The seed feeling is I'm feeling blank, which is giving me a memory or a sense of blank. Be sure to take time to slow down, doing this or anything else in life. The only reason you think that time is running out is because you're running out of fuel and focusing on the wrong things. You do have time to meditate. You just meditate on things that overpower you or make you feel heavier and that leave you drained. This is the grand scheme of things. And this also ties in, I forgot who said it, but the saying of, if you can't meditate for 5 minutes, meditate for 30 on why you can't. You know what I mean? And it's funny because when people who aren't fully aware of it will laugh at it, be like, haha, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you have to meditate longer. Like, that's really funny and cute. But it's really just saying, like, when you think of all those excuses for why you can't, you're meditating on reasons of why you can't. You can then switch that role. I don't have time to meditate. Yes, I do. I'm just so focused on X, Y, and Z that it's taking up my time, and maybe I should focus on other things than that. And then you start to meditate on that. So be very aware of that. Be super aware of that. And the reason why I say you think time is running out rather than you feel is because people misuse those two terms heavily, and it's due to people not talking about what feelings are. Everyone says the word emotion, and that's wrong, which is why people are wrongly saying things. Please listen to me when I say it. It makes more sense. It is just foolproof when I tell you it. When you have a feeling, it creates that thought. You're not thinking, you're not feeling that you're running out of time. It's that feeling of things ramping up inside of you. It is the feeling of gathering energy in you that you're feeling that then gives the illusion of things speeding up externally. Or are you feeling panicked because your mind is, taking that feeling of ramped up energy of, it could just be excitement, anticipation, and plasters it with a scale of good to bad. And it overstands that bad means that you have to go in the panic mode and survival and scary, and good is, okay, we're fine, get happy and stuff. But that's how it gauges it. That's how we overstand these things. And when you're so focused on, like, that feeling, and it's like, oh, I don't know what to do with all this energy now. Like, what should I do? All these thoughts start coming in. Oh, now you're running out of time. This is a panic. You get that idea, that sense, it shows you, oh, hey, this is happening. And then you like, oh, I'm running out of time. I feel like I'm running out of time. You're not feeling anything. You're thinking. because you would know if you were really, really feeling, and in that feeling, you would know that there is no time. That time is only something that the rational mind needs to use to gauge stuff on the external world. It needs to have those it doesn't need to have those gears. It's been conditioned into needing those gears, I should say. And it's not a true aspect of self. So really take time to focus on that. But anyway, back to authenticity. Ask yourself what's keeping you from feeling how you want. Is it a thought that's blocking you from receiving? Is it a memory that you reminisce commonly? Or is it just the fact that you call yourself a bad person for feeling and then bottle things up, which actually causes that thought pattern to create that feeling of you being a bad person because you're hurting yourself in that sense? Whatever it is, you need to ask yourself and allow it to sink in. Realize and actualize that you're not talking to yourself, but to a part of you that sees through a different lens. Understand that part of you, of self, overstand it. Like, hear it out. Excuse me, I don't know why I got lost there, but hear it out. You do this by feeling. This is allow yourself to be like, this is happening. How do I feel about it? Now, your first feeling is going to register as a thought, because that's the communication line. You are just the bridge in between a feeling and thought, which is why you get first feeling, then thought. That's how the bridge works, from pyre to the physical, from the spiritual to the material, however you want to word it. But allow that feeling to become that thought. Oh, I genuinely feel this way about it. Like it's something that comes out. Even if your mind goes, oh, that's bad of me to say, you end up still saying it. Not because you wanted to say something bad, but because that's how you authentically felt at that time. That's perfectly fine. Don't hold yourself back with being like low key, or what is it, throwing shade and shit. That's childish. Be more, have more respect for yourself. You know what I mean? There's no need to mumble under your breath, to anyone nor yourself. Be full, authentic, be expressive, hold yourself over that respect. Allow yourself to receive that respect so that you can output it and receive more of it, regardless. The way you feel it really is by talking out loud with yourself. The key isn't to destroy or kill anything, it's to see it. It isn't about housing your demons or giving cookies and kisses to the devil. It's about you talking to yourself, the part of you that only sees the physical world and only knows what it can see, which is limited by past events and circumstances. You can only output what is accepted as input, even if it obstructs the path of the user or you. This is the rational mind. This side of you will scapegoat, blame everyone else but the one who is responsible, which is you. You need to have the ability to respond. That's what responsibility is. And if you don't respond accordingly, which is just seeing that it is you, because you're also part of it. And if it wasn't you, you wouldn't be part of it. You know what I mean? And that's something that we have to understand as people. It only happens to you because you involved yourself in it, because you have a place in that. But regardless, this side also holds labels. It holds the flesh. It blinds the person from ever moving past 5, which is the interaction of you and your 5 senses with time and matter. This is also known as Father. This isn't a bad thing, as this balances you out in what's possible for you at the state that you're in at that point in existence. This is where you focus when it comes to shadow work. This is your rational mind. The thing that a lot of people become a slave to. Oh, if I don't do this, X, Y, Z. If all these things, happen, then I'm going to X, Y, Z. All that stuff comes from that rational mind. Instead of just allowing those events to happen and to move with those events when they happen, we try to predict the future. It's a rational mind thing. It's Roman Empire bullshit that's been impressed on us. But this whole thing has many roots, but the most common are a lack of expression due to childhood traumas or childhood experiences, identity crisis or imposter syndromes, survivor guilt, and majorly just an increase of external events, awareness on external events. Some tips to work through this is to just ask yourself, what caused the main issue. Was it a phrase that someone said that triggered you? Was it something that you allowed to repeat in your mind? Is it an uncomfortable memory? How did it sprout? people forget that shadow work isn't about getting rid of your shadow. It's about learning to be protected and guided by it. Your shadow is where everything is made from. It's where everything is birthed from. The things that you follow, things that follow you, my bad. When you work with the shadow, you clean it. You transmute the things within the shadow. The shadow isn't bad. You're just a bad person to yourself. This is with no one to really express it to, or not even yourself, at least in a healthy way. You then put that pressure on your shadow and your ego, which is just you. Look up the origin of ego. It's Latin for I, which is just you, the observer. But then it labels, that off of past experiences, that, or you end up panicking because you're a good person, and then deal with the fact that you have brought these external situations to yourself, this shadow work routine. But knowing this at a soul level, and only in experience, experiencing on a mental plane takes a toll on a person when they don't realize what's happening. No one can really tell you how you think you feel. No one can tell you really how you feel in that moment, regardless, because those thoughts also can cause feelings, even though they're not true and real feelings. But those who are actually enlightened can tell you what the soul is showing you. Yes, it's a reflection of yourself, but which angle, in which light are you in? Did you forget that all things happen in three? Internal to external doesn't matter. There's always going to be that three. There's cause and action, and then a reaction. The reaction is the physical in this sense, the how the world responds to you. Your action is your thought given by the idea or the cause of all things. But the greatest thing you can really pull from this, it's kind of just what we've went over, is to stop being hard on yourself and allow yourself to live in your own flow. You have your own way of life, and just do that. Stop idolizing others' ways of life or viewpoints. Just stay focused on your needs and your way of life. Stop saying you need to survive and start living. Drop fear, drop living and rationality. Break free from your own prison. Stop lying to yourself. If you don't feel like doing something, then don't. Treat yourself with respect by giving yourself what you need and not what's expected of you by others. Learn to laugh, learn to ask why, learn how to explore, learn not to hold yourself back. You already have one key, and that's what you desire. All you have to do is follow the path, and you'll receive the other key, because you'll realize it's been within you. You just needed something to pull it out of you. How do you walk that path? Well, that's your path. You need to take the first step. Don't worry about which foot goes where. Don't worry about what do I need? Just have that idea. Just have the grip on that. You have to just walk that path. You have people that will, guide you on the path. You have people that will help you along the path, but you yourself need to make that initiative step. You have the blueprint. It's your heart. Let it guide you. Let your mind keep you sturdy, while you, the observer, drive the ship. But regardless, I just wanted to talk about this, just, quick little video on it. Thank you all so much for all the support, the love, the donations, whether energetic or financial. And yeah, I love you all so much. To the moon and back tenfold and forever. And I will see you all later.